By the time she realized the Korean Mafia boss was protecting her instead of hunting her,
You chose this.
it was already too late.
You chose betrayal.
3 of them, loud, final, screaming. A woman's scream raw, like her throat is tearing. A man's voice, deep and broken. You should have just stayed a ghost. Glass shatters. A body hits marble, blood pools against white tile. She's holding a gun. But her hands are shaking. She isn't a killer. Across the room stands Kang Do-yun, the devil of Seoul. His white suit jacket is soaked red. But the blood isn't his. He looks at her not with hatred, but with something worse. Betrayal. You came to destroy me, he whispers. But look at you. You're crying. She is crying, hard. Her mascara runs. Her chest heaves. A man shouts in Korean, "Kill them both, no witnesses." Do-yun moves like a panther. He grabs her wrist, pulls her behind a steel pillar. Bullets rip past her ear. She looks at him, the monster she swore to expose. And he looks at her like she's the last woman on earth. "Stay behind me," he growls. "And don't you dare die. Because I'm not done being angry at you." How did it come to this? How did the undercover agent fall for the crime lord? To understand the disaster, you have to go back 3 months earlier. When Oluchi first walked into hell wearing a wire, Oluchi wasn't a spy. She was a forensic accountant, brilliant, obsessive, the kind of woman who saw numbers the way poets see sunsets. But when her younger sister, a student in Seoul, disappeared after witnessing a mafia execution, the police did nothing. Too scared of the man running the underground, Kang Do-yun. So Oluchi made a choice. She flew to Seoul. She created a fake identity, a Nigerian-Korean luxury investor looking to launder money. And she applied to Do-yun's inner circle. Getting in was terrifyingly easy. That should have been her first warning. Do-yun's world was not what movies showed. No tacky gold chains. No screaming gangsters. His headquarters was a minimalist penthouse overlooking the Han River. His men wore suits that cost more than her rent. They spoke softly, they smiled politely, and they buried people without leaving a single drop of blood. The first time she saw him, her soul froze. Kang Do-yun stood by a floor-to-ceiling window, reading a leather-bound book. Late 30s, face like a sculpture. Eyes so dark they looked like black holes. He didn't look dangerous. He looked elegant. That was far worse. He didn't greet her. He said, "You have the eyes of someone who is lying." Her heart stopped, but she smiled. "And you have the eyes of someone who checks everyone's pulse before walking into a room." A pause, then the smallest curve of his lips. Interesting. That was the moment she should have run. But her sister's face flashed in her mind. So she stayed. For 2 weeks, she gathered intel, recordings, transaction logs, faces of his lieutenants. But Do-yun never touched the dirty money himself. He was a ghost. Every trail he kept watching her. At meetings, he'd pour her whiskey himself. "You don't drink," he noticed on night 3. "But you pretend to." "Why?" "Maybe I don't trust people who pour me drinks," she shot back. He laughed. Actually laughed. His men looked terrified. They had never heard that sound. That night, as she left, 3 men in masks grabbed her outside the elevator. She fought, kicked, bit, but they threw her into a van. She woke up in a concrete room, a rival gang. They wanted to know everything about Do-yun's operations. They broke her finger. She didn't talk. Then the lights went out, screaming. Wet sounds. Silence. When the lights returned, Do-yun stood over 5 bodies. His hands were bloody. His face was calm. He knelt beside her and gently touched her broken finger. "Who did this to you?" he asked, soft, like a lover. "Your enemies," she whispered. He lifted her into his arms, carried her out. Then they have no enemies left. That night, in his private clinic, he didn't leave her side. He cleaned her wounds himself. His hands that had strangled men were impossibly gentle. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. He looked at her for a long time. "Because you didn't betray me, even when they broke your bones. No one has ever done that for me." She felt it then, the first crack in her wall. And she hated herself for it. Weeks passed, she healed. He became present. Never romantic, never that. But he started leaving her small things. Her favorite Nigerian tea imported, a first edition book by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. A note that just said, "You look tired. Rest." She told herself it was manipulation. He was a predator. This was how predators hunted. Then came the charity gala, a trap. Do-yun's biggest rival had planted a bomb under the VIP table. Oluchi discovered it, but there was no time to evacuate 50 innocent people. She could have run. Instead, she threw herself on top of a child. The explosion threw her across the room, shrapnel in her back, blood in her mouth. When she woke up, Do-yun was carrying her again, running, screaming at his men to clear a path. His voice cracked something nobody had ever heard. "Stay with me," he ordered. "That's an order." She smiled through the blood. "You're not my boss. Right now, I'm the only thing between you and death. So shut up and live." In the hospital, while she drifted in and out, she heard him talking to his right-hand man. Find out who planted that bomb. Cut off their hands, then cut off their heads. But then quiet, just his voice, just for her. "I don't know who you are anymore, Oluchi. But I know I can't breathe when you're bleeding." She pretended to be asleep, but tears slipped down her cheeks. The next night, she kissed him. It was raining. He was driving her back to her apartment. She asked him to come inside. He said no. "If I come inside, I won't leave." "Then don't," she said. He stared at her, a war in his eyes. Then he kissed her hard, desperate, like a starving man. His hands cupped her face, his forehead pressed against hers. "I've killed people," he whispered. "I've done things that would make you vomit." "I know," she said. "And you're still here?" "I'm trying not to be." They fell into bed. It wasn't gentle. It was two lonely souls tearing each other apart. And in the dark, with his arms wrapped around her, she forgot for one beautiful, stupid moment that she was wearing a weir. The next morning, she found the file. He had left his study unlocked. She knew it was wrong. She knew she was destroying something real, but her sister's face. That missing person photo. She opened the drawer and found the truth. It wasn't Do-yun's men who killed her sister. It was Do-yun's enemy, a man named Chairman Park, and there stapled to the file was a photograph of Oluchi's sister, alive, in witness protection. Do-yun had been hiding her, protecting her, for 6 months. He knew. He knew who Oluchi was from the first night. He knew she was lying. He knew she wore a wire. And he still saved her, still kissed her, still whispered her name like a prayer. Her legs gave out. Then his voice behind her, cold, dead. "Now you know." She turned. Do-yun stood in the doorway. His face was empty, but his hands trembled. "You knew," she breathed. "You knew everything. I knew the moment you walked in. Your accent is good, but your fear is wrong. A real investor isn't afraid of me. You were. Then why didn't you kill me?" He stepped closer. "Because I wanted to see what you would do. I wanted to see if you were like the others, if you would betray me the moment you could." "I didn't betray you," she said, her voice breaking. "No," he agreed. "You did something worse. You made me care." She ripped the wire from her chest, threw it at his feet. "I'm done. I don't care about the mission anymore." "It doesn't matter," he said quietly. "Because Chairman Park just found out who you are. He has your sister. And in 1 hour, he's going to broadcast your face to every criminal in Seoul as my weakness." Her blood turned to ice. "Why would he?" "Because," Do-yun said, pulling a gun from his jacket, "he wants you dead, and he wants me to watch." What followed was 24 hours of pure hell. Do-yun mobilized his entire army. They moved through Seoul like shadows. He didn't let Oluchi out of his sight, not for a second. They rescued her sister in a firefight that left 12 men dead. Oluchi held a gun for the first time. She shot a man in the shoulder. Do-yun finished him without blinking. But Chairman Park escaped, and he had one final card. He released a video showing Oluchi entering the police station 3 months ago, signing an agreement to become an undercover agent. The video ended with Park's voice. "The Nigerian whore is a cop, and Kang Do-yun is sleeping with her. Your boss is compromised." The underworld erupted. Do-yun's lieutenants turned on him. Blood spilled in the streets. And in the chaos, Do-yun made a choice. He found Oluchi in his penthouse. She was packing. Her sister was already on a plane back to Nigeria. "You have to go," he said. "Come with me," she begged. "I can't. If I run, they'll hunt us forever. If I stay, they'll kill me. But there's a third option." "What option?" He handed her a flash drive. "Everything. All my records, every crime, every transaction, every name. If you give this to the police, I go to prison for life. But Chairman Park goes down with me, and you and your sister are free." She stared at him. "You would sacrifice yourself." "I would die for you," he said simply. "Prison is easy compared to that." She kissed him. Fierce, desperate. "I'm not giving them this. You have to." "No. We find another way." But there was no time. The building was surrounded. His own men were at the door, guns raised, demanding her head. And then the moment we saw at the beginning. Betrayal. Gunshots. Blood. Except, the blood wasn't hers. One of Do-yun's most trusted men, a man who had served him for a decade, raised his gun. At Oluchi, Do-yun pushed her aside, took the bullet in his chest. He fell, white suit, red flower blooming, and as he lay there dying in her arms, he whispered, "I told you. Stay behind me." She screamed, raw. Animal, not the scream of an aged, the scream of a woman losing her heart. She grabbed his fallen gun, and for the first time in her life she didn't hesitate. She shot the traitor in the forehead. Then she carried Kang Do-yun, the devil of Seoul, the monster, the man she loved, down 40 flights of stairs, bleeding, begging him to stay. He was unconscious by the time the ambulance came. The police arrested her at the hospital. Handcuffs, charges, interrogation. But 3 days later Do-yun woke up, and the first thing he did, he confessed to everything, every crime, every sin. He gave a statement that lasted 8 hours. He named Chairman Park. He named every dirty politician. He burned his empire to ash. The prosecutors offered him a deal: life in prison, no parole. Oluchi was granted full immunity. She walked free. The last time she saw him was in a visiting room. Behind glass, he wore a gray prison uniform. He looked tired, but when he saw her he smiled. "You look different," he said. "I stopped wearing wires," she replied. "Do you hate me?" she asked. He pressed his palm against the glass. She pressed hers against his. "I told you once," he said, "that no one had ever protected me. Then you carried me down 40 flights of stairs while I was bleeding out. You shot a man for me. You ruined your own life for me." Tears streamed down her face. "How could I hate you, Oluchi?" he whispered. "You're the only person who ever made me want to be good." The guard said time was up. She stood, walked toward the door. "Oluchi," he called. She turned. "Live a beautiful life," he said. "That's the only revenge I want." She left. She lives in Lagos now. She doesn't date. She doesn't go out. She works with an NGO that helps families of crime victims. Every Tuesday, she writes a letter. No return address, just a few lines. Things like, "The mangoes are in season, Do-yun. You would hate how sweet they are." She never gets a reply, but she knows he reads them, because one day, a prison guard contacted her. Saw Do-yun had requested only one thing in his cell: a small photo, worn at the edges. A photo of her laughing at that charity gala before the bomb, before the blood. On the back, in his handwriting, "Oluchi entered my underworld to destroy me. Instead, she destroyed every wall I ever built." She never stopped loving him. And in a maximum security prison in Seoul, the most dangerous man in Korea spends every night with his hand over his heart where a bullet once entered, whispering her name. Because some love stories don't end with happily ever after. They end with two people on opposite sides of glass, still choosing each other. Still bleeding for each other, still alive for each other. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. She exposed the crime lord. But the only thing she couldn't expose was her own heart. Subscribe for more cinematic love stories, and don't forget to like, comment, and tell us where you're watching from in the comment section.